And we are live at the crib, chilling, playing my game. You know, I need to put on my headset to, where I can. Actually, I need to get on the laptop and do this, get a little more professional, you know, uh, you know, focus on the key that I'm talking about, man. The joy of being a father. It's a beautiful thing, man. You have your kids, preferably a lot of guys, in the boy category, and it's rough. You ultimately try and try and try to have those young men be a part of your family. Believe it or not, I was with my twins when I was at Walmart one time, and there was this guy walking around in Walmart. He had his I think it was his mother-in-law and his father-in-law. No, I'm sorry, it was his parents with him walking around in Walmart. And the funny part is, he walked up on me. He had two sets of twins. They were girls. And he seen me with my set of twin boys. And he told me, he was like, I give anything to have your boys right now. And I started laughing. I was like, nah, man, I'm good. He was like, I got four sets of twins, all girls. So, I laughed it off. I'm like, man, this dude lying. Ain't no way this man is running around here. What's going on, third? I was like, ain't no way this man is running around here with eight girls in his house. So lo and behold, his wife come up with her parents. So, I guess they was doing some shopping, and most likely from being that it may the family was going on Ebo. So the family walked up from his wife's side. They had the other four girls. So I bust out laughing. I was like, man, you got eight girls for real? He was like, I wasn't playing. And each one of the family members, they kept saying, he tried for boys so hard. This guy literally had four sets of twins with a total of eight girls. And, the parents, both parents, they they was like, yeah, we told him to stop at the second set. He kept going because his hunger to have boys, made him have it was like a as some people say, dealt the bad hand, or the luck of the draw. This guy had every time his wife got pregnant, twins, and he ended up having eight girls, man. And, but it was a beautiful thing, man. He loved his girls. He had all his girls with him, and he was like, man, I love these girls, man. Wouldn't trade them for anything in the world, man. But I wanted boys. And I'm not gonna try to push this whole thing about boys, man. But the thing of it is, man, the guy tried, and that's the big thing. To the point where you want your boys so bad, you're willing to have more kids just for the sake of if you get that young man or not. And it was a crazy thing, man. And for the love of your kids, man, I was on Gold Professor's channel earlier. A lot of people, if you don't know, Gold Professor, he does Thursdays, he does health talk. And every day he has a day devoted to things. And today, health talk. And he was dealing with the issues of, pregnancy. And, I stressed that, when my wife was pregnant, I tried to be as nice as I could be, you know, willing to do just a lot for her because of the circumstance she was having twins. And on top of that, she was having my boys. So, that was awesome to, say the least. You know, I was happy. These were my kids. You know, I already have two stepkids. And, the craziest thing was, man, my wife, she kind of didn't want kids at first because, the hassle, she had. And like I stressed to her that, you dealing with a different guy with a different breed. And if you don't want kids, there's no need of us, taking it to the next level. That's, before the marriage because, I kind of stressed to her I wanted kids due to the fact that, I've raised a lot of my nieces and nephews, cousins, to the point why I won't have my own kids, you know, and to see how my father left, you know, a paper trail for me in which, to take care of family and, key things that everybody told me, the type of man he was and what he did, I had some shoes to fill, even though he wasn't around as much as I grew up because he died at a real early age in my life. But the whole point, I felt like it was my duty to progress the last name of the family, and even though my oldest brother has a kid, but he really don't talk to him, because some things happened when he was a young man, so he lost touch with his son. And when he got back in touch with him again, he lost touch with him again through situations. So as a stand, I was like pretty much being the only one that right now with the boys in the family that everybody can relate to. And that was a big thing for me when I had my boys that I was going to push my last name and hopefully a lot of characteristics, traits, the looks, the good looks of the family name and all that, on off to the kids to the point where, it was gonna be a great thing. And, I was passionate about it, man. I wasn't in my feelings, I gotta hit it with it. But it was more along the lines of emotions, man. I was deeply, happy and all kind of joy coming at me, man, because I was having boys and twins at that. My wife, she kind of scared me when she gave me the paper for the what was it, the ultrasound, and I thought it was four. I thought it was quads, man. I was looking at the paper and she gave it to me and she was smiling and I'm like I'm having a heart attack inside. And her thing was she was laughing because she was like, "We having twins." I'm like, "Ooh, oh, I can deal with that." That was my whole thing was, you know, I was already on high, and when she took me back down and was having twins, I was like, "Oh, I could deal with the twins." My thing was I thought it was more than that, and it kind of caught me off guard to the point, man. I was like, "Oh man, this gonna be crazy, man." Having four kids and at one time, and my wife, I was like, how is she gonna cope with this pregnancy with four kids? You know, but I was like, we're gonna have to get it done, spite the odds and whatever's going on. And like I said, man, it was a wonderful thing, man. And to see my boys being born, and as of right now, they're about 10 years old. So me willing and them going through the process of dealing with school, going through the process of them and getting in they ways and trying to break them out of these bad habits. It's funny, man. What's going on, Ron? Hey, man, you gotta send me that on that beard oil, man. I'm gonna check it out. Some guys, man, they on this channel, man. Run 314's guns. Yeah, we gotta gotta check out this beard over, man. Come on, you see that beard over there kind of struggling, man. It's struggling hard. I'm gonna need to put some oil on there, get it right, man. What's going on, Brown Bird? I mean, I'm sorry, Bronze Bird, man. Hey, I'm used to the old OG. I'm used to the OG, the Bronze Bird. What's going on? You know, and it was crazy, man. Like I said, me having my twins, I was ready for it, man. Hey, I was on the no sleep game hard. My wife, she would be doing her thing. She just was in recovery. I would try to get up and, give them bottles, change the pampers, feed them. And I was trying to do as much as I could, even though I had to work the next day and she was having time off from work. But, I was trying to let her rest because, man, I was happy to do it, man. It wasn't a thing to which, I'm just gonna push a lot of stuff on her to do. I found joy in doing it, man. Even when I took my boys around my family, I was always rolling with them. I mean, I got so many videos of me, man, actually riding in the car with my boys, they playing music and they jamming out. Either at house, they wilding out in the living room, man. I used to have my TV sit up on this big old TV stand that sit up about 5 feet high. And it was I think it was like a 40 or 50-inch TV set up real high. And I used to always have to get on them about going over there because they wanted to touch the PlayStation, deal with the box, and they didn't know what they was doing. But the whole thing was it was just joy, jumping around in that big old space in the living room, because my living room was so big to the point where I always kept a sectional. I always like dealing with the sectionals around, you know, and the little footstool in there to where, I mean, the ottoman to where you put it on there. And I pushed the ottoman to the side. What's going on, Kane? And I had the boys, I'd be like, man, go crazy. I'd be playing the music, be playing rap, and I'd be listening to my old Project Pack, 3 6 Mafia, and I was like, this the jam, boy. And I'd be jumping around with them. And I started off, and then I let them get to going, and I just kick back, man. They be wilding, man. They be jumping up and down. I was like, man, this crazy, man. These little boys going wild. And after a while, they get in that room, man. I let them go ahead and get in there, and pass out. They be knocked out. It'd be funny, man. I remember a couple of times, man, I got pictures of them. While I go to their room, one of my sons, he fell out. I bought him race car beds. These dudes, I bought them both race car beds. One of them, he actually got in the bed curled up. The other one, he's on the edge of the bed, like he couldn't even get in. He fell asleep right on the top part of the car, and his head was just sitting at the foot of the bed. Cause anybody know the race car beds, man, the way they sit, you have the front end of the hood, then the bed flips in it, man. Dude just knocked out right there at the edge. It's funny, man. I actually should have put a thumbnail to the video of this of my son knocked out at the edge of that race car bed, man. And it was fun. I mean, I spoiled him so bad. My oldest kids was looking at me like, man, these jokers get their own computer. Like when they was when they was born, man, I bought them a touchscreen desktop, and the whole thing was touchscreen built into the whole screen to where they like watching Curious George, and I set it up and I showed them how to do it, man. They go in there, pop up, hit the Curious George, and they ain't even got to come say, "Daddy, change this, do this." But to the point where, they had to press button here, button there, and Kids George playing. And I had it to where I show them how to press it on YouTube to where it be nothing but Kids George videos back to back. And they be in a while, man, watching Kids George. And, you know, like I said, man, it was just joy. Even now, man, even though them little jokers might give me a headache, trying to get them focused on their schoolwork. And, one of them, I got them both in tutoring, but this one of my boys, his boy, man, you can't tell him he wrong. When it comes to certain things, he know everything and don't know nothing, man. This guy was, yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah. Then 5 minutes later, be like, hey, daddy, how you do this? I was like, I thought you know how to do it. Oh, I thought I did, but just show it to me. It's a thing, man. It's a big process on dealing with the kids in general, man, and it's wonderful feeling, man. Especially that's why I can't wait to have my grandkids, because with them, they getting older, and get to the point where I have my grandkids. I can always butter them up, fill them up with snacks, and have them fun, and send them off to their mom and make them look bad. Be like, man, granddaddy do so much stuff with us. Mama, daddy, you suck. Like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I want to go stay with my granddad. I don't want to stay here no more. I don't feel the love. Cause that's the love, man. You get with them kids, man. Hey, go professor sneaking on in here. Yeah, I shouted out Kane. What's going on with you, bro? And it's funny, man, when you have that joy of dealing with them kids, man, and even being a grandpa, like I said, I place a lot of high on my granddad, man. This dude, he moves around a certain way because of a disability, man. But so much love for this man, how he do things. He still moves around. Every time I go kick it with him, I do something for him. Try to help him out the best way I can. Even my grandma, my aunts, the older people, man. I got so much love for them because the way they, lived their life, kind of, did things, and, especially the way they taught me certain things in life, and a lot of guys don't understand. They always pushing to the point of pushing out these elders, man, and making way for them elders, man, is the key because they teach you how to move, man. It's the way of life. You learn so much from them, and a lot of guys. I understand you might have an elder that kind of move in a certain way, but when it come down to it with the elders, man, you got to get them the respect, you know, because with the elders, man, they offer so much wisdom. A lot of guys they complain, but I'm like, you just dealing with the wrong ones. If you dealing with 10 older gentlemen or older women, and you take advice, the best advice from three of them, even seven of them, you're doing good. But if you're only dealing with one or two, elders, and every time you turn around, they're not giving you the best advice. You're always having these upsets by all the stuff that they're telling you. You got to stick and move like boxing, man. You got to move on because those guys are holding the wisdom. They're not letting you know. I understand you have an issue with that, but everybody's not going to be upfront. Everybody's not going to give you that answer that you need, man. Life is so dang good. How you doing, lady? How's it going? I'm sorry, ma'am. How's it going? Give respect, go professor. Yeah, I don't want him knocking me upside the head, talking about, hey, brother, what's going on with you, man? Hey, throw a little respect around here. Put some respect on people's names. But yeah, it's a wonderful thing, man. I've always been in the mindset of being around elders and learning different things, to seeing the path in which they move to where I can be better for myself. You know, and a lot of guys, like I said, you dealing with a certain type of old guy and he's not teaching you nothing, who fault it is you still around him. You know, it's like going to a school and you're not learning. Hey, you choose to tell your parents to either skip you or stay where you at and be dormant. Because like I say, dealing with those kids is a wonderful thing, man. Nobody's taught to say, I mean, they show you certain ways, in which, hey, this is how you handle this, this is how this situation come up. But with that real life on the job training, it's nothing like it. You know, Somebody walks up to you, stick a baby in your hand, and be like, "Hey, be a father." You got to figure it out. If you either go look for the guidance, look for the teaching, or trial and error. You might drop a baby, pick them up. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Something like that. I ain't gonna lie, I almost killed one of my boys, but that's another story because my wife might be listening or something. But you know. But I mean, it's a crazy thing, man, when you know you're moving around and starting that family, you know, having the, first step of, finding that woman that you can deal with and, maintain that relationship with and, kind of set some goals in mind because ultimately, you don't want to get took through the ringer. You don't want to have a woman that, you kind of, you're going to be bumping heads. And that's why I always tell guys when it come down to it, man, at the rate, most women are going to be a certain way and there's nothing you can do about it. But the point of it is like least of the headaches. I was talking with a guy earlier and I was telling him, would you want a woman that, kind of fusses and fights with you and you deal with her and have a kid? Or will you want a woman that's, kind of, understanding to the point where she'll work it out with you and it ain't that much back and forth? Because at the end of the day, women are women, they have, certain powers within this society right now in which they can take advantage of only if they want to. So I don't fault them for that because as men, we have the power to a degree when it comes to certain things and we move a certain way, you know, and when it boils down to it, you know, you finding that woman that, you can kind of work and have a relationship with that's key versus, dealing with a woman you just trying to get you a child and establish something that's a different story, and if you go down that path you got to accept everything that comes with that path. If you're dealing with a woman that is beautiful, because I know guys, we deal with the women by looks, and that's what I told my wife, when it came down to it, would I generally deal with a woman with no kids and have the headache, or deal with a woman with kids and everything would be okay? Because that's why I always say I never discredit a lot of women that have kids, but it comes to a certain degree. If you have multiple kids and things of sort, then you was out here kind of moving reckless. If you have multiple kids with multiple baby daddies, he's kind of moving a little reckless. But you seen the a error that happened in the way, you just didn't proceed to let it happen again. I don't look at fault for that because some men can be persuasive, some women can be persuasive, but in the end, you got to do what's in the best interest of you and do what's in the best interest of that child. And you know, if a man end up ultimately having a kid with somebody who they don't respect, and it's like I don't want to like last, let's say a one night stand thing. Ultimately, you got to come up to the fact that you made that mistake and bump your head, versus she ain't nothing, or vice versa. If the woman proceeds to do the same thing, that he ain't nothing because you had a one night stand or upset with him. You got to take fault for that, and you got to look at the reality of what happened and not get caught up like that again. You know, and there's some men out here that we move a different way, and women that move a different way. I say that as well, but when it comes down to it, it's all about that child. And if you're gonna have a kid, move a little carefully, I should say, man. Go into depth conversations. Have scenarios what happened if, because ultimately the human mindset can always change, in which you never know the outcome of emotions dealing with, men or women. What's going on? I'm listening. Hello. And when it comes to the emotions of people, you would truly never know what's going on with them. Because at 1 minute, or just say at the split of a second, I always talked about she can actually leave me right now, you know, due to the laws pending. We're in a marriage. She could leave me, take half of everything, take the boys, and I'm subject to pay child support. But that's the rule of the land, you know. But with choosing the woman that kind of long to say, like I call it that unicorn, and a lot of guys say that unicorns don't exist. But the point of it is, I mean, over time we shall see. I've been in a marriage for 14 years and moving, and as of right now, if things are going, smoothly right now, we could do another 14, and another 14, to the point where either one of us passes before the marriage is broken, you know. But like I say, who knows what the future holds? Only thing you got to do is just hope for the best and, move with the intent of, having that relationship built stronger and stronger. Even like I say, with dealing with my kids, man, you know, I'm invested with those boys all the way past 18. When they get their first car, when they get their first house, like I said, when they also have kids, when hopefully I could be around when my grandkids are, trying to get out there and do their thing in the streets and, have their kids. And it's all about the teachings, man, and which if I'm not teaching them, they can find the lessons from somewhere. I can kind of put them in the right direction. I have good friends. I have some rough friends that need be, they can get the job done. Make my boys tough. And I also have some friends that can kind of push them in the direction of finance. And you know, my whole thing is everything I try to do, the sticking and moving in life. I try to put myself in position to be a better man for one. That's first and foremost, because without me getting the, kind of put myself in a better light, how can I actually be a better father for my kids? So I have to start myself first before anybody, because if you don't love yourself, if you can't deal with yourself, how can you actually, proceed to give someone else some love if you don't even love yourself? How can you proceed to, move a certain way to better someone else's life if you can't better your own life? You know, to the point where even if I was to the situation where I couldn't work and I was down and out, the point of me having some type of joy within myself can elevate onto my kids and seeing them, I'd never give up. If I lost a leg and I still tried to go get a job, or I still tried to move around and do certain things, not just sitting there, pouting on a broken leg or a loss of a leg for me to, kind of make money or provide, or, even if I get the disability arrangement, I'm still trying to figure out what's my next move and to make money. I could be a driver, drive with one leg, just learn how to drive with the opposite foot. They have I was in high school. They had cars that I used to drive for, paraplegics and stuff, to where they had the brakes and gas at the steering wheel, which was awesome. I drove those cars for a minute, learning how to drive those cars and stick shifts as well. Getting into the form of learning how to drive a stick when I was in driver's ed, to the point where when it comes down to it, what's going on, Tone, man? You know, moving in these streets. But when it comes down to it, man, having those kids is a wonderful thing to my life. And, me being a father was a great thing, and, even though my family, they were happy for me, but the joy of me seeing these boys and raising them every day, man, like I said, even though I might have a disagreement or situation with them I gotta handle, I would always try to do it with love, man, because those are my little men. I could take them everywhere. But the point of it is, I got to deal with myself first. You know, I have to make arrangements for myself to learn. To I deal with cars. I do my own brakes, do my own oil at times. If I get lazy, I'll take it to the store. If not, I'll jack that thing up. Either put them on the ramps I have, take that screw out, take that oil filter out, which was so easy, man. I learned how to actually doing an oil change when I was dealing with furniture. I was moving furniture. This guy had a Thunderbird. I never forget it. It's an 86 something Thunderbird, an 85 whatever Thunderbird. And the guy said he wanted to, change the oil before we throw it on the truck. And my impression was when I was younger that I would always go to get my aunt's oil change and some places, and it would be like 45 minutes to an hour. My thing was like, man, it's taking them a long time to do an oil change. I know they got to drain the oil, but I'm like, the process got to take, this length of time because, the way that they're moving. And to see how it was when the guy went in there, snatched the bolt out, I actually seen him do the process. He snatched the bolt out, let it drain, took off the oil filter, let it drain, put the oil filter back on, put the bolt back in, the clock for the oil, poured the oil in there, and was like, she good to go. At that moment, I was like, I'm never going to the dealership again to get my oil changed. I was like, man, I've been bamboozled, man, all this time to the point where I'm paying these people, even though it's more of a necessity to to get your oil changed, but it's a convenience thing dealing with people. That was the whole thing with me, and that's what killed me was getting that oil change and seeing the process being so quick. I was like, man, what's going on, man? I was like, all this because, like I said, it's to the point where I didn't know. No one ever taught me to do the oil. They showed me how to change a tire. My uncle showed me how to change a tire. Granddad told me how to show me how to change a tire. You know, show me even how to plug a tire. Get a plug in my tire. Because I had bikes. I had to patch the holes in my bike. My oldest brother showed me how to do that. Or he went off on his as they call it when you go to jail, vacation. And I was younger. He showed me how to, patch tires up on my bike. And as I got older, I see how to plug a tire, see how to change a tire. But as far as maintenance on fixing cars, I was never taught that. So I kind of, learned things as a process. And once I knew how to change that oil, I got to the point where I was like, well, what other things I can do on my car, actually without being able to go into school or self-taught. And that was like YouTube was a big thing as far as just the internet in general would teach people a lot of stuff. And I just searched a lot of stuff on how to do online, seeing a lot of videos before YouTube was big, and those videos would take a while to download. When that AOL was popping back in the day, when you hit those cricket noise on the internet connection. And I kind of passed a lot of stuff. Like now, I got the Google hubs in my house. I got a Max for the Google Duo to call my kids, and I got just a regular hub, and I got a dot, and all that. To where, if anything, I tell my kids, watch a video, learn how to do it on there. Got them laptops, I show them how to do stuff. I let them look at it online to the point where, as time going on, I'm showing them more and more. And it's to the point where they got to the age now where I'm just kind of pushing them to see and do more stuff, because I really wanted my kids to actually grow up without, well, almost the way I did. I didn't want them, I wanted them more or less to have a childhood. So that's why, them dinosaurs and stuff like that, I keep them a child by letting them play with toys, man. I keep them off the phones as much. I just actually let them get their phones today. I find little ways to kind of, hit them with the punishment, and they looking crazy, but all they know is dad say no phone. They're not looking at the process because, when I was younger, I was the kid that questioned, like, hold on, well, you want me to do this? Then what's going on with that? I'm gonna get a whooping because I'm asking these questions. All right, I'm gonna get these licks, and I'm still content, with getting these whoopings with you more. What's going on, Ryan? What's going on, Measley? Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and still get these whoopings, and I'm gonna continue keep asking questions because at the end of the day, you're not just gonna tell me something and that be it. So my boys, they mind well, they good kids. So I always stay on top of them by doing stuff. But my thing, is to show them the lesson, man, and how to, move. And like I say, man, them boys, man, I'm getting them to the point where now I'm gonna start making them work out. I really didn't want to push them into sports so quick because, you know, when I wrestled in high school, and for Charles, if he listens to this, I did say wrestle instead of wrestle. And it's to the point where, I started teaching them little stuff here and there and everything. And it came down to the point where I'd be like, man, when it comes down to it, I want you to learn this and I want you to do this and do that. But it was to the point of, trying to show them things to get them in the mind frame of, how stuff is. But I don't want to, get them too early because a lot of guys I knew that, wrestled in high school and they wrestled, from other schools, because in our community, we don't really do these type of sports until, we kind of go into the, high school. There are some areas where black kids I found, they've been wrestling since 5 years old. And I'm like, man, I ain't even, the only thing I know about this was WWE and, stuff like that. I never took the time to kind of, look into that and say, okay, well, this is a good thing. This is a sport, man, I'm about to get into. Because like I said, when it turned around, the biggest thing with me was all I did was just, play football and basketball. That was in our community. And, with my boys, I show them little stuff, but I, try not to push them more or less towards no one of them wants to do soccer. And so I'm about to get them pushed into that, to kind of get them into different sports. Because, I mean, to be honest, if you look at it, soccer and baseball pay more than any. Those are the main sports we don't push our kids into. So, like my cousin, he was into baseball real heavy before, he got in his little trouble and caught his little wave. He was into baseball heavy. And, that was his big thing of doing baseball. His mom, she did softball. So she more or less encouraged him on the baseball anyway. And that's the thing, man. Keeping the kids fit, keeping them moving around, keeping them in sports. They one of my boys, this guy eat crazy, man, like a grown man, just about like me. This guy eats his favorite food to eat is crab legs and lobster. You know, go figure, a kid, around 10. They like to eat something like that, but not only does he eat crab legs and lobster, this guy will eat squash. He eats everything, to the point of all his vegetables. And, his big thing is, his vegetables, man. He loves his vegetables because when it comes up, he knows as a young man, I told him, I was like, real food from, restaurants. I was like, that's not real food. It's to the point where he always, get on us about cooking is better because you can save money and at the same time you get more for your buck. And I always said that as a, young with them. So, they implement that sometimes. They kind of, hit us, be like, hey, why don't you cook this? And, instead of going to buy it, which, we'll go to Red Lobster and he knows going to Red Lobster, getting a lobster meal, you spending like 30, $40 to where if you can go get two lobster tails, 10 to $12 a piece, buy the sauce, those sauces run you about $2, I think around $2 to $3.50, $2 to $3 a bottle, and then turn around and buy pasta, which is nothing, about $2, $3. You looking at, dropping a meal less than $20. But you going to, Red Lobster somewhere, you spending $40. And, they implement a lot of processes, as far as money and learning how to move and stuff. Yeah, and it's crazy, man. Dealing with that. Yeah, Clark, man. I used to watch wrestling over the. I used to watch wrestling at TV, man, a lot. My biggest thing, in Georgia, we had the TBS where you watch WCW. The Ted Turner, WCW, man. That was the biggest thing down here. We watched WCW a lot. And then you turn around and had the WWF. WWF was my first sport where I got into wrestling, and then started watching WCW. When they combined, it was just the other leagues and all that stuff, man. It just got crazy. Then it went overboard, man. And the biggest thing with that, like I said, I played football and stuff and all that too. But with that TV wrestling, it kind of messed me up when I got into the sport in high school. And the funniest part, I actually got talked into wrestling due to the fact that I was going out for the basketball team, but the basketball team had a horrible coach. He was our football coach, and this guy was stressing us out that if we didn't have the proper calisthenics, that we wasn't gonna be able to do the job. So he was more focused on the conditioning far as the talent of the team. Even with us wrestling, we were we had the most endurance out of all the schools in our area, until we got outside the area, which is, from the hood, went to, it wasn't a rough school, but it was wild. We had our fair share of illegal activities and hustle and bustle within the nation. But why these cakes? How's it going? And the crazy part is with dealing with the school I went to, that sport, I didn't even know that they had it until my football coach, kind of kept pushing me on to going into it. And he was saying, man, come on up here and do this because, the basketball coach is this way, basketball coach is that way. And, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it out. Went up there, was in t-shirt and shorts, basketball shorts. And I DDT'd somebody and he was like, man, that's not wrestling. This wrestling right here. That's TV wrestling, man. You can't do that. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? That's what I see WWF, man. That's what I see on this, and I do this and I do that. And he's like, nah, man, that's not real. When it come down to it, this is real wrestling. And I'm up here dying laughing because I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. But the first thing that blew my mind was when I actually got on those mats and had to put on a singlet. And I'm like, I'm not wearing this. I'm like, dude, this look like some off the wall. I'm just gonna say off the wall. I want to say something else, but I'm like, this some off the wall stuff, man. I'm like, bro, I'm not wearing this singlet, bro. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm like, I'm quitting right now. He's like, what you scared? I'm like, no, I'm not scared. You punked me out real good. I was like, man, I'm not scared. I was like, I could beat any one of these jokers in here. I'm, pumping up. And I actually got second place at the first tournament I ever went to. It was a freestyle tournament and everything. I actually got second place at that tournament. The next tournament I went to the next week, I got drugged so bad because that's when the vets came after football and they was going to the freestyle tournaments. They beat the brakes off me. And then that next week, I started getting a little better. I got second again. And, my first year, I did pretty good. I got second at county with it, because I was on JV. So I got second at county. And I actually did pretty good, lose to some guy that was a 3-year vet. This dude a JV for 3 years, and it was funny. I guess I would have been on. Nah, I probably would have been because I was moving a little more better. But our team didn't have too many varsities, so I kind of moved up quick. But it was always that point where if you wanted to move up, you had to wrestle for your position. And I stated my claim as being one of the guys that can move around with the big boys, and I held my title on. And when it came down to it, I was respected. Even got to the point where when I was in school, man, I'm on this thing about me, and I'm supposed to be talking about my kids. But I kind of got respected to the point where the team, we were doing so well. We went in county area and placed in high ranks at state each year. The first year I think we placed in the top 10, and third, fourth, and year that I was there, we was in the top 5 and everything. We had a chance to win state my senior year, but it was two tech where one of the kids got thrown out, and the other one he broke a guy's shoulder, which they still gave us the points, but it was a whole lot of battling between that. And we ended up losing points for one of the kids that got thrown out. So all his points that he got for the team got thrown out. So we ended up getting third my senior year in state. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go back to my boys. It's a wonderful thing. Even my 2 older kids, man. I love those kids to death as well, man. I raised them like they my own. Even though they got a little upset with me, sometime, but they did their thing, man. I'm proud of them. They actually, college college kids. They haven't graduated yet, but college kids, man. And I feel like I had a part in that, even though my wife, before I got with her, she had them on the right track, put them in decent schools, you know, read to them, kind of put them in a mind frame of winning, and it was a thing that she didn't even look at to the point where she wanted to push them and, doing things. It was just second nature to her to, kind of raise them and want the best for them. It wasn't something that somebody was telling her. It wasn't something that she was kind of forcing and demanding them to do good in school. It was just the point where every time I would come around and see how she deal with her kids, that gave me a boost of confidence that if I do marry her, if I do deal with her, most likely I'm gonna be picking the right one, because the way she pushed her kids, she had a lot of patience with them. you know, uh, they graduated. My son, he graduated with decent grades. My daughter, she was, a high percentile of her class, and did pretty good. The valedictorian thing was kind of hard because you had to have those SATs and everything else included. And like I say, she did her thing. She ended up going out of town to a prestigious business school. As far as my son, he kind of went down to a party school, but ultimately he's not a party person like that anyway. He goes every now and then, but he's focused because the young boy got 2 jobs right now, man. Uh, got a motorcycle, which I didn't want him to get. Got a car, so he's doing his thing though. I tell him just to be safe and kind of give him a little guidance. And ultimately, I'm not the one of those parents that kind of push you like you got to do this or else. I let you choose your own path when you get to that age. So it's to the point where, man, if he kind of falls and bump his head, I let him know, hey, I didn't raise you to be no quitter, man. Move different. Change up. If you need some, kind of inspiration, you need some, come talk to me. You know, as words of gold, professor, I'm not upon reproach, man. I mean, approach. If you're in a situation where you need something, depending on what you need, I can show you a little love by giving you some information, but I ain't giving you no money now. Yeah, I help them out too, man, because like I said, having kids, man, it's a wonderful thing, and you got to be there for them, through the good and the bad, because it's times where the kids will get on your nerves, to have you up a wall, man. You be like, man, I'm tired of this, but at the same time, you can't throw your hands up and say I'm done. It's not like repoing a car, you know. Even though people say, man, I deal with my kids up until 18, man, it goes farther than that. You can cut them off from certain things at 18, but the point of it is that need will always still be there. So for the fact of the matter is, man, they they stuck in there for life. You know, whichever come first, you or them. Hey, you got to deal with them. You know, and that's that's the thing that as a good parent, man, you don't have to go through with the ups and downs with them. You know, you got to put them in position to win by giving them the tools, man. And I push it out to a lot of parents, man. You got to give them the tools. You know, I might go ahead and drop this link for a few minutes. You know, I might jump off in a minute, but the thing is, you got to give your kids the tools to win, man. You know, out of all this that I'm saying, man, when it come down to it, it's a serious thing, man. To be in your kids' life, to kind of give them some type of guidance and directions. You know, it's a path that if you're willing to take with them, if you're willing to take that path with them, kind of work with them, deal with them, be with them. That's the thing. You got to have some type of understanding. For one, you got to have that training. If you wasn't trained, seek the training so you can give it to your kids. That's the biggest thing. And in our community, we're only taught we're taught to a limited things. I was talking to one of my boys yesterday. He said the only thing his mother ever taught him in life was don't mess up your credit. You could do everything, to a certain degree, but don't mess up your credit. And that spoke volume. Like I had another homeboy. I was telling him about life insurance. And oh yeah, man, shout out to my boy Alonzo Hall. I'm always gonna keep pumping Alonzo Hall, man, because I need to check that dude out on YouTube. He's dealing about finance, man, telling you how to move with your 401k, telling you how to get involved in that life insurance, preferably whole life, man, because if you're gonna have kids or you got kids, you need life insurance, man. Generational wealth. I was just talking with a guy the other day. Situation happened at my house, and me and him was having a conversation. The guys from my area, and the biggest thing was we were just talking about our families, and I was telling him to the extent where, I buried my grandmother. She had life insurance, but the policy lapsed, and he was saying that his father had insurance, but his policy lapsed, and it's to the point where these elders, even if they don't have the money, you know, it's almost a shame for them to reach out to the kids. And I would never be in that situation because I'm always going to have that insurance for them. So even if I can't pay the policy and it's of a healthy amount, I'm giving them the option to pay it. You know, even if I have to take on a family member to write in my will to give them a percentage of it if they pay it. If I'm down on my luck, I'm bad, something happened to me and I don't have no money, that's my generation, man. That's the next generation. That's for my grandkids. As I get older, I'm gonna set policies for them as well. That's the biggest thing. The next generation, we gotta move different for them. We was taught or we wasn't taught certain things. Now the information that we got out here on the internet, with the manosphere, there's no reason why men out here moving foul right now. The manosphere is putting, things in the air. And for people who not in the manosphere, don't know about the manosphere, all beat, but still the knowledge is out here now. There's no place that people can't go to find anything on the computer to a certain degree in which can help them. You know, certain things might be wrong, but trial and error, you go through it or you just find the right things, put you in that great frame of mind. But when it boils down to it at the end of the day, like I'm saying, generational wealth is key for your kids. If you're not planning for the future, what is the old saying, if you're not planning to plan, you planning to fail. So if you're not planning for the kids to be successful, if you're not planning for your kids to gain some type of generational wealth, you planning for your kids to fail. And that speaks volumes. You're planning for your wife if you married, to well, to the point where, you're married and you have kids, you should be having a situation where she shouldn't have to debate on getting remarried in order for her to survive. If you feel as if she needs to do that, then by all means, you talk to her about that, because a lot of stuff I will and did with my wife, she stressed to me that she don't know what she'll do. You know, I'm not holding her feet to the fire, like never get married after, I die. That's her decision. I'm gone. My life is no more. I'm not going to hold her to her happiness to where she should, you know, just, stay there and be single forever. That's her decision, the same as mine. I wouldn't want her to hold me in regards to say, no, you never get married. Don't touch no other woman, this and that, because you never know. And that state of mind of emotion, I always talk about of a situation if I ever walked in on my wife cheating on me or something. I always got to the point where I say, man, I might not do anything. But who knows with that situation when it occurs? Because, emotions are high. When it comes down to it, you don't know what your emotions are going to do at that moment. So you just have to be in a certain mind frame to actually get past all that. Okay? Yeah, so, at the end of the day, man, like I said, you have to be there for your kids, man. At the end of the day, man, you have to be there for your kids. You have to get ready to jump off in a minute. But you know, like I said, dealing with the family, having the kids, you know, being a protector, the provider for them, you gotta have options in which, if you're not around, you're still able to take care of them. My father was in the military, so he made it to the point where something happened. The military had to pay the check out to the kids, far as school and everything else. I want to push on that same narrative, and since I didn't go to the military, my option was life insurance. You know, and like I'm saying, the biggest thing is, man, planning for your future. Planning for your kids, planning for your wife. If you divorce, hey, you still have to plan for those kids. Just because that marriage ended doesn't mean those kids don't get a chance at having a future with you or without you. And like I said, to the point where if something happens to you, who's going to be there to take care of your kids? You want your wife out there, trying to run back out there on the market to, get into another relationship, or, let her proceed the way she wants. If she wants some time to herself, after you passing, that's a heartbreak to, be in love with someone for that long to see them pass. Normally, when the older people happen in that scenario, but normally when that happens with the older people in that scenario, well, one dies, the other one dies shortly after, over broken heart when it comes down to it. So you have to set them up to a situation to where like with me, if I was to die, I have it you know set up to a degree, I should say, that my wife, she shouldn't have to work. She can live off the life insurance that I provided for at least a minimum of a year. You know, After then, she better get back to work and start, living her life. She ain't gonna be living no best life. I don't condone all that best life talk, but she's gonna be living her life, man. Generally, well. Bills gonna be paid, house gonna be paid off, to a degree to where she's gonna be comfortable. And that's the key thing that I want to provide for her and provide for my boys, because with them, they're gonna have enough money if I die to a degree before 18, they'll have enough money to buy a car cash, put down on a house, and hopefully, you know, have some type of credit built, because I'm gonna start making them build their credit once they get 16. I'm gonna start providing them with little small loans that they have, like this self app to where you can do loans. get them a portfolio, set them up with some stocks, show them, from the best of my knowledge, or even give them some type of training, to where I pay for it for them to go seek some type of training in stock and mutual funds. Hopefully they find a decent job to where a 401k is it, or IRA they can do themselves throughout their bank. So when it comes down to it, it's gonna be no option. And I'm in the process right now of looking to actually get them their own life insurance to where, when they get older, they'll have it to where they can start borrowing money from it immediately. But let me go ahead and finish my phone from charging. I'll go ahead and catch you guys later. You know, Once again, like I said, Alonzo, shout out to him on YouTube. Check him out, man. The Blue Blazer, man. I'm always pump that guy, get his channel out there and let it be known. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and drop his link in the chat for people, and I might even try to put it in the description of this movie. I'm sorry, this pod. But let people understand, man. This guy's giving out information. It's up to us if we want to take heed to it, because at the end of the day, he's only giving out the knowledge to, kind of help us. It's up to us, man, if we take that, that that next step. Go ahead and drop the name in there, and then, after that, man, go ahead and sign off. And like I always say, man, we gone.